The moment I felt my uterus tear open, I knew I was dying. What I didn't know was that God was about to show me who really sent this baby. I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I'm a 34-year-old obstetrician gynecologist. For 8 years, I've delivered hundreds of babies. I've held miracles in my hands, other people's miracles. But I never thought my own miracle would lead me to the edge of death and to a truth that would shatter everything I believed about where babies come from. Every day in the delivery room, I'm the one in control. I'm the doctor. I know the protocols, I know the risks, I know what to do when a mother is losing too much blood, when a baby's heart rate drops, when things go wrong. That knowledge gave me confidence, it gave me power. But when it came to my own pregnancy, that same knowledge became a curse. Because I knew too much, I knew every single thing that could go wrong. And deep down, beneath my professional confidence was a fear I couldn't shake. My husband and I tried for 3 years to get pregnant. 3 years of hoping, praying, disappointment. 3 years of watching my patients bring new life into the world while I went home to an empty nursery. When I finally saw those 2 lines on the pregnancy test, I cried for an hour. This was it. This was my miracle. My baby, our baby, or so I thought. November 14th, 2025. That was the day my life changed forever. I was overdue. 41 weeks pregnant. My obstetrician, Dr. Martinez, a colleague I'd worked with for years, recommended induction. Standard protocol for overdue pregnancies. I agreed, I trusted her, I trusted the process. I'd done this hundreds of times for other women. Now it was my turn. They started the Pitocin drip at 7 in the morning. The IV needle slid into my arm. The clear fluid began flowing into my veins, telling my body it was time. Time to bring this baby into the world. The contractions started slowly, gentle waves of pressure, uncomfortable but manageable. I breathed through them. I told myself I knew what to expect. I was prepared. But my body had other plans. By noon, the contractions were intense, sharp, gripping pain that wrapped around my abdomen and squeezed like a vice. I could feel every muscle tightening, releasing, tightening again, but my cervix wasn't dilating. Dr. Martinez checked me. 3 centimeters, only 3, after 5 hours of labor. That's not good. I knew that wasn't good. She increased the Pitocin. The contractions came harder, faster, closer together. The pain was blinding. But still my cervix refused to open. I watched the monitor beside my bed, the jagged green line tracking my baby's heartbeat, 140 beats per minute, strong, healthy. I focused on that line. As long as that line stayed steady, my baby was okay. We were okay. Hour after hour passed. The room became a blur of nurses changing shifts, monitors beeping, my husband holding my hand, whispering encouragement I couldn't really hear anymore. All I could feel was pain, exhaustion. My body was working so hard, but nothing was happening. 20 hours of labor, 25, 30. I was trapped in an endless cycle of agony with no progress, no relief. And then, at hour 37, everything changed. I felt it. A sensation I'd never felt before. Not a contraction, something else, something terrifying. A sudden catastrophic pressure deep inside me, lower than the contractions, sharper, and then a tearing, an actual tearing, like fabric ripping apart inside my body, and warmth, a flooding warmth spreading through my abdomen that I knew was blood. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't speak. My vision blurred. The monitor beside me started screaming. Alarms, loud piercing alarms, my baby's heartbeat. It was dropping, fast, 120, 180. Dr. Martinez's face appeared above mine. Her eyes were wide, urgent. She pressed her hands on my abdomen and I screamed. The pain was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't labor pain. This was different. This was my body destroying itself from the inside. Code blue in my own delivery room. My code blue. I heard her voice, sharp and commanding. Her uterus has ruptured. We need to get this baby out now. Ruptured uterus. I knew what that meant. I'm a doctor. I knew exactly what that meant. Internal bleeding. Catastrophic hemorrhage. My baby's oxygen supply cut off. Minutes. We had minutes, maybe less. I was bleeding to death inside my own body, and my baby, my miracle baby, was dying with me. They wheeled me out of the labor room so fast the ceiling lights became a streak of white above me, voices shouting, hands grabbing my arms, my legs. The operating room doors burst open, bright lights, cold air, metal instruments clattering. I was lifted onto the operating table, straps across my chest, monitors attached to my skin. The anesthesiologist leaning over me, saying something about spinal block, about staying awake, about the baby, staying awake. They were going to cut me open while I was awake. I felt the cold antiseptic wash over my abdomen, the drape going up, blocking my view. But I could feel everything, not pain. They'd numbed me, but pressure, tugging, pulling, hands inside my body. The surgical team moving with frantic precision. Dr. Martinez's voice. There's a lot of blood. Suction, more suction. I couldn't see my baby. I couldn't see anything. Just the white drape in front of my face and the bright lights above. I tried to speak, but my voice came out as a whisper. Just save my baby. Please, God, just save my baby. My husband was somewhere in the room. I could hear him crying. Or maybe that was me. I couldn't tell anymore. Everything was fading. The sounds, the voices, the beeping of the monitors. And then I heard it. A different sound, slower, irregular, my own heartbeat. Slowing down. I looked at the monitor. My blood pressure dropping, 70/40, 60/30. The numbers kept falling. The room was spinning. Or maybe I was spinning. I couldn't feel my hands anymore, or my legs. Just a strange, heavy numbness spreading through my entire body. Someone was shouting my name, Dr. Martinez, but her voice sounded far away, like she was calling to me from the end of a long tunnel. And I was drifting away from her, away from the operating room, away from the pain. Then everything went silent. The machines stopped beeping, the voices stopped shouting. My heartbeat, that rhythmic thump that had been with me every second of my 34 years, stopped, and I felt myself leave. I wasn't in my body anymore. I was above it. Looking down, I could see myself on the operating table. My chest wasn't moving. Dr. Martinez was doing compressions on my heart. Someone else was bagging me, forcing air into my lungs. The surgical drape was pulled back. Blood. So much blood. And then I saw them lift my baby out, a tiny, blue, motionless body, but I didn't feel afraid. I didn't feel anything, just a strange, weightless peace. The operating room started to fade. The lights dimmed, the walls dissolved, and I was somewhere else, somewhere that wasn't a room or a place at all. It was light. Pure, brilliant, all-encompassing light. Not harsh or blinding, warm, gentle, like being held. I wasn't standing or floating, I just existed, and I wasn't alone. The light took shape, not completely, not like a physical body. But enough for me to know, to recognize it was Jesus. I knew it was him instantly, not because I saw his face, I couldn't describe his face, but because of his presence. It wasn't just peace, it was truth, absolute, undeniable truth. The kind of truth that doesn't need proof or explanation, you just know. And he spoke to me, not with words, not with sound. It was deeper than that. His voice resonated inside my soul, like he was speaking directly to the core of who I am. He asked me one question. Do you know who sent this baby to you? I didn't understand. I thought we created this baby. Me and my husband. We tried for 3 years. We prayed, we hoped, we finally conceived. This was our baby, our choice, our miracle. But as soon as I thought that, I knew it wasn't the whole truth. Something in his presence made me see differently, made me question everything I'd believed about how life works, about where babies come from, about who's really in control. He smiled, not with a mouth. I can't explain it, but I felt his smile, warm, patient, like he was about to show me something I'd been blind to my entire life. And then he did. He showed me something that shattered everything. I can't even explain what I saw. It wasn't a vision like a movie. It was knowledge, pure knowledge, flooding into my mind. The truth about my baby, the truth about every baby, the truth about why some souls come to earth and why others don't. About God's plan, about missions, about purpose. What I learned in that moment, I can never forget. Because this baby wasn't random. This baby wasn't just biology and timing and chance. This baby was a mission, and the mission was about to begin. Jesus showed me a realm I'd never seen before. Souls, countless souls waiting, not in some abstract theological concept, but right there, real, tangible, and overwhelming in their presence. These weren't just spirits floating in some cosmic waiting room. They were assignments, souls with missions, souls with purpose, each one carrying a divine plan that would unfold the moment they entered the physical world. And there, among them, I saw my baby, Rowan. His soul was radiant, distinct, and the moment I recognized him, everything I thought I knew about pregnancy shattered. Jesus spoke to me, and his voice carried an authority that transcended every medical textbook I'd ever read. This soul chose you, not randomly, not by accident, purposefully. I stood there, stunned. I thought I controlled when to have a baby. I thought we decided. Marcus and I sat at our kitchen table with calendars and ovulation trackers, convinced we were orchestrating the perfect timing. Career milestones achieved, check. Financial stability secured, check. Relationship foundations solid, check. But Rowan had been waiting in that realm of unborn souls for the exact moment when his mission could begin. And I wasn't the orchestrator. I was the chosen one, chosen to receive him, chosen to raise him, chosen to participate in a plan that was set in motion long before I ever held that positive pregnancy test. The tears came then, not from physical pain, but from the weight of this truth. My career, my plans, my controlled timeline, none of it mattered in the face of divine sovereignty. Jesus continued, and every word burned itself into my consciousness. Rowan's soul carries a specific purpose: to teach you surrender. And that's when I understood. This wasn't just about becoming a mother. This was about transformation. I'd controlled everything in my life. My medical school applications, my residency placements, my career trajectory, my wedding timeline, even my pregnancy was supposed to be scheduled, managed, optimized for minimal disruption. But you can't control a soul. You can't control God's timing. The rupture wasn't punishment. It was proof. Proof that control is an illusion. Proof that my white-knuckle grip on life was preventing me from experiencing the fullness of faith. This baby was sent to shatter my illusion and rebuild my faith on a foundation of trust instead of control. And then Jesus showed me more. The vision expanded, and I saw beyond just Rowan. I saw babies being born across the world, in hospitals, in homes, in moments of joy and moments of crisis, and every single one carried the same truth I was witnessing. Every baby is a sent soul. They're not accidents, not random genetic combinations, not the result of human planning alone. They're divine assignments. Souls with missions that intersect with our lives at precisely the right moment to fulfill God's plan. My job wasn't to control Rowan's arrival. It wasn't to schedule him between surgical rotations or wait until my career felt stable enough. My job was to receive him, to open my hands and my heart and say, "Yes, God, I'm ready for this assignment." The medical system taught me protocols. Jesus taught me trust. I thought of all the times I'd counseled patients about planned versus unplanned pregnancies, about optimal birth spacing and maternal age considerations. And those things matter. They have medical validity, but they're incomplete without the spiritual dimension. Churches say God has a plan. Pastors preach it from pulpits every Sunday. But do we really believe it when we're bleeding out on an operating table? Do we really trust it when our carefully constructed timelines fall apart? He was showing me that even in my deepest terror, even when my heart stopped and my baby's life hung in the balance, his plan was perfect. The timing I thought was wrong was actually right. The crisis I thought was a disaster was actually a doorway to revelation, a doorway to transformation. And then Jesus asked me a question that would determine everything. Do you want to stay or return? I looked at the peace surrounding me. I felt the absence of pain, the presence of complete love, the certainty that in this realm nothing could hurt me anymore. Staying would have been easy. Staying would have meant eternal rest. But then I looked at Rowan's soul again, and I knew, with every fiber of my being, I knew I had to raise him. This was my mission too. I wasn't just chosen to receive him, I was chosen to guide him, to nurture the purpose he carried, to participate in whatever divine plan required his specific presence in the world. Staying in that peace would have been selfish. Going back meant pain, physical pain, emotional pain, the struggle of recovery, the challenges of raising a child, the uncertainty of what comes next. But I chose the pain because Rowan needed me to complete his mission, and I needed to complete mine. The moment I made that choice, everything shifted. Jesus reached out his hand, and I felt myself being pulled back, not gently, not peacefully, but with the force of divine will reasserting itself over my physical body. And then I was back. The operating room slammed into my senses like a freight train. The bright surgical lights that had seemed so distant were now blinding. The sounds of monitors and voices crashed over me in a chaotic symphony, and the pain, oh God, the pain. It was like being torn apart and reassembled simultaneously. I heard Dr. Rodriguez's voice, urgent and commanding. "We've got her back. Heart rhythm restored, BP climbing. Sarah, if you can hear me, squeeze my hand." I squeezed, barely, but I squeezed. And then I heard it. The sound that made every second of pain worth it. The sound that validated the choice I'd made in that divine realm. A baby's cry, Rowan's cry, strong, insistent, alive. Baby's out. Dr. Martinez announced, 8 pounds, 2 ounces. Apgar 9 at 1 minute. He's perfect, Sarah. He's absolutely perfect. They told me later that I'd been code blue for 90 seconds. 90 seconds where my heart didn't beat, where they pumped my chest and shocked me back to life, where the entire team thought they might lose both of us. But Rowan was born healthy on November 18th, 2025, at 11:37 a.m. Despite the placental rupture, despite the hemorrhage, despite my heart stopping. The doctors called it a miracle. They gathered around my bedside in the recovery room, shaking their heads in disbelief. "We have no medical explanation," Dr. Rodriguez said. "You should have massive organ damage. The baby should have suffered from oxygen deprivation, but you're both thriving." But I knew God sent me back because our mission wasn't finished. Rowan's mission, my mission, the intertwined purpose that required both of us to be alive together in this world. We were discharged on November 23rd. 5 days after a crisis that should have killed us both, we walked out of that hospital as a family. It's December now, 2025. And I'm actively sharing this testimony because people need to hear it. The world needs to know what I saw. My body healed, the incision closed, the blood counts normalized, my organs recovered, but my soul was transformed. The doctors warned me, no more pregnancies, too risky. My uterus is scarred. Another placental rupture would likely be fatal, and I'm at peace with that, completely at peace. Because Rowan was the one soul I was meant to receive, the one assignment I needed to accept, the one mission that required my participation. I'm still a doctor. I still deliver babies. I still practice evidence-based obstetrics. But now, I'm something more. I'm a witness. I witness the divine in every delivery. I see the souls entering the world, sent on their missions, choosing their families, intersecting with human lives at precisely the right moment. And I carry this question for everyone who hears my story. Do you believe babies are sent? Really believe it? Or do you think it's all random? Genetics and timing and biological luck? Because what I saw was real. Those souls are waiting for the right parents, the right moment, the right circumstances to fulfill their divine assignments. Maybe the pregnancy you didn't plan was actually perfectly timed by God. Maybe the baby you thought came too early was actually right on schedule for a mission you can't yet see. Maybe the struggles you're facing right now are preparing you for your assignment. Stop fighting for control. Stop trying to orchestrate every detail. Start surrendering to the mission. The truth Jesus showed me doesn't get preached in most churches. They talk about God's plan in abstract terms, but they don't tell you about the realm of waiting souls. They don't explain that every baby carries a divine assignment. But it's real. I saw it. I lived it. I came back to testify to it. If this testimony moved you, share it. Someone needs to hear this today. Someone is struggling with control right now, trying to manage their life down to the smallest detail, and they need to know that surrender isn't weakness. It's faith. Subscribe for more real testimonies of divine encounters that change everything, because these stories aren't just inspirational content, they're evidence. Evidence that God is actively involved in our lives in ways we can barely comprehend. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever felt a baby was sent to you? Have you experienced that moment when you realize this wasn't random, this was assignment? I'm Dr. Sarah Chen. I deliver babies for a living. I've attended hundreds of births. I've managed countless complications. I've saved lives with medical intervention. But now I know who really sends them. This isn't just my story. This is proof. Proof that God is in control. Proof that every life has purpose. Proof that the souls waiting in that divine realm are ready to fulfill missions we can't even imagine. And Rowan is living his right now. At 6 weeks old, he's already teaching me surrender every single day. Every feeding that doesn't go as planned, every diaper blowout that disrupts my schedule, every sleepless night that reminds me I'm not in control. He was sent, and I was chosen. And together, we're completing the mission God designed before time began.